Uh, oh, I guess that's good, right? I hope so. Is it? Yeah, that's good. I think. Hey everyone, I'm here to talk about the Walking Dead season 2 because I just finished that. And yeah, I remember, man, when I remember first seeing this when it came out, however many years ago, and very emotional. A lot of people were hating on it back then. I remember because it it was like slow, but I think it was good storytelling as far as building up more characters and then making you feel more for them, more emotion for them, like good storytelling, I guess. I don't know, but have here season 2. Let's see, season 2 of The Walking Dead. So again, I remember it being pretty polarizing. How slow it went. It starts out with them on the highway and a bunch of like they can't get through a highway. There's too many cars blocking it, like a graveyard of automobiles. And then a herd, a better word for it, I'm sure, but there's a herd of zombies coming. So they all hide underneath the cars, right? And they're all hiding. T-Dog, the black dude, cuts his left arm like really bad. So he's there kind of like bleeding out. Everybody's hiding. They're almost done with the herd, but then Sophia, the little girl, was it Carol, her daughter? She gets scared and runs off because of two walkers, and Rick runs after her, and he doesn't want to like shoot them because he's worried he'll draw more attention from the walkers on the road. So he decides to like lure them while he tells Sophia to hide under some brush or something. And when he comes back later with the team, Sophia's gone. I guess she got scared, and so the whole team just starts searching for Sophia. Like that's the whole. That's a couple of episodes, pretty much, And there's a lot of conflict because, people like Shane are like, should we just leave? Is she really alive? And there's Rick that has hope. Blah blah blah. Daryl's kind of coming into his own character where he wants to like find him herself because he's like a good tracker and he's trying to do all that. There's a point when they go looking for Sophia. Rick and Shane are there with Carl, the kid, the son of Rick, right? And they see some CGI deer, some NPC deer, and they're like, "It's so beautiful," and Carl's like, "Can I touch it?" And they're like, "Yeah, go ahead, go touch it." And so Carl gets closer and closer to the deer, and then you just hear a gunshot, and the deer dies, and Carl just like gets pushed back. It turns out like someone was hunting the deer, shot the deer, and the bullet went through the deer and into Carl. So we get introduced to this fat hunter dude named Otis, and he's panicking while Rick is panicking to where to take Carl, who just got shot. And he's like, "Take him to Herschel, he'll know what to do," and he's a doctor, he's on the farm. So they run to the farm, and Herschel is like the old man who owns the farm. There's a couple of people there, like stepkids, and then you have his two daughters. What are they? I forget. I got it written down here somewhere. But anyways, Herschel is able to kind of like keep Carl alive, but he needs supplies to like put him under anesthesia. But he needs supplies like breathing tubes and air tanks and stuff. So Shane volunteers to go to some school to grab it. Otis volunteers to go with him, and they go to the school. They get overrun because there's just too many zombies, and it's night. And Shane, unknowingly to everyone, decides to do the really heel shit and shoot Otis in the leg, leave him as bait, and he's able to escape. Which, I mean, in my head, that's the smart thing to do. It's about surviving. Like, why are both of you gonna go out if one of you can be saved to save Carl? You know, but it's kind of a heel move, and then he shaves his head because Otis tried to yank some of his hair out, and it makes him look even more like a heel. And here's his anti-hero arc going on, right? Meanwhile, we have Daryl looking for Sophia himself, and Carol's kind of noticing that, so she's like, "Oh, he's a sweet kind of guy, you know. He's looking for Sophia, my daughter." Herschel's able to successfully heal Carl, and they say he says they can stay on the farm until they find Sophia. But Rick and everyone's kind of liking the stability there on the farm, and then they've got hot showers, which I swear, like every season, I feel like there's a hot shower scene where people take hot showers and they just love it. Like a hot shower is like the greatest thing, and after the apocalypse, you know. But anyways, he what is it? Rick kind of pleads to Herschel like, "Hey, can we stay? Like, we'll do our own work. We'll stay on our own side." He's like, "All right, if you follow my rules, you could stay, right?" Also, there's like a little story, real quick, of this fat bloated walker in a water well, and they all have to try to get it out. And Glenn is like, "I'll go in there and wrap a rope around it," and he almost like gets eaten by that fucking fat walker, and they pull it up and its guts get torn in half and ruin the water well. And then here's Glenn, and Glenn's Korean, and he goes with I don't know why I just say Glenn's Korean. I just wrote that in my notes. He's Korean, right? And he takes one of Herschel's daughters, Maggie, the older daughter, to the town pharmacy to grab some shit. He finds some condoms, and she's like, "Oh, you want to have sex?" And he's all nervous, but like she ends up taking off her shirt, and we get some nice like side boob looking on there, right? And so they just do it, and Glenn the Korean grabs Rick's wife Lori a pregnancy test, and she ends up finding she's pregnant, but she doesn't tell anyone because she doesn't know if it's Rick's or Shane's, right? Real Maury shit, like who's the father? You know, you are not the father. During this time, Daryl keeps searching for Sophia, where at some point he falls off of a horse down into like a gulch, and he gets one of his own arrows stuck in the side of him, and he starts like hallucinating, and he's seeing his brother Merle there, and he's talking shit to him, but it like in a motivational sort of sense. And he finds the strength to stay alive, even if though he's fucked up out there, and he starts killing walkers and cutting their ears off and wearing them like a necklace, you know. And Rick and Shane are arguing like brothers really at this point to keep looking for the Sophia, and everyone keeps getting hurt. They're trying to maintain peace between the people of the farm and their own group. And Maggie gives a note to Glenn the Korean like, "Hey, where do you want to do it tonight?" And he writes back, "Ever do it in a barn?" And when he goes to the barn, their barn is secretly like fucking, I don't know what you call it. It's like a pet shop of walkers. Like they're keeping all these walkers there almost as pets because they think those walkers can be cured. And Glenn trips out because he sees it. And Glenn the Korean, he's kind of like the Rat King because he's keeping all these secrets and shit, you know, like Lori being pregnant and having sex with the farmer's daughter, and the walkers being in the barn. And I know somewhere at some point in the series, Andrea and Shane like go to some cul-de-sac to look for Sophia, and they just bone each other and then come back with like no news. But like fucking Andrea has like some bruises on her neck from Shane just mean fucking her in the car. Glenn does tell Dell, though, the old bucket hat man, about the walkers in the barn, and they approach Herschel about them. But he believes that they're just sick and they can be cured, you know? And once the world gets better, then they'll get better. Rick finds out Lori's pregnant. Rick and Shane keep getting more and more mad at each other for doing the right thing, doing the wrong thing. What's the right thing? What's the wrong thing? Glenn then tells everybody just at one episode that the barn is full of walkers. And Rick's like, I'll go talk to Herschel. And Herschel's like, look, man, you could stay on my barn if you help me keep these walkers, like, trapped without killing them. We don't kill the walkers. We don't kill our own kind. And we'll let you stay here. You gotta do it my way or the highway. That's Limp Bizkit. I don't think Limp Bizkit's around after the apocalypse. But then, whenever everyone sees Rick looking like such a cuck holding this walker with like a dog leash thing, they're like, fuck this shit, and they all go over there with all their guns. Glenn opens up the barn and they just start shooting every walker that comes out of that fucking barn. And I mean headshot after headshot after headshot, like they're cheating. It's like they're in God mode, because you're telling me every single person in that group gets nothing but headshots. Even with the shotgun, from however far away, they're getting fucking headshots, right? It's amazing. The Chinaman with fucking slant eyes is getting headshots with a fucking shotgun. But the very last walker to walk out of there is a little girl, and it's Sophia. And that, I remember when I saw that when it originally aired, back when you had to actually watch TV, brother, back in the day. I cried. It was real sad, and the music's super sad, and everyone's emotional. And Rick gets his big ass gun, goes straight up to the little girl point blank, and just shoots her in the fucking head. Like, there you go, rest easy. like I'll do this, I'll do the deed, you know. But yeah, rewatching it again, that part really brought me back. Like, man, this was really sad. But it took a lot of episodes to get to that, and I understand people being so bipolar about it. Like, oh, it took too long, but it was good. It was good storytelling. Anyway, we keep going. Herschel tells everyone to leave his farm. So they say they will after they bury the loved ones and burn everyone else. One of Herschel's daughters, the younger one, goes into shock, and when they try to get Herschel to help, no one can find Herschel. So Glenn the Korean and Rick the sheriff go to town and find him drinking in a saloon. After a talk with Herschel about the world being shit, blah blah blah, they're about to leave when two random dudes pop up, and they sound like that from Boston. No, they sound like they have good intentions, but you know, they also sound like just dudes. Like, hey, where y'all staying up? You got some chicks to bone there? You know, like, they don't seem like good guys. So Rick just fucking shoots him. Like, he's like, nah, I ain't dealing with this shit. And Herschel's like, all right, let's go. I'm sobered up. And then more dudes arrive at the bar where Rick, Glenn, and Herschel are at. But those dudes get overran by walkers. I don't know what they call them. They call them something else, like fucking, I don't remember. They had a different nickname for them, but not walkers. So they all get overrun and they leave, except one kid who jumps off of a roof and he impales his leg into like a fence. And Rick suddenly feels guilty, even though he just fucking shot those two dudes and shot another dude too. Or that was Glenn or fucking Herschel, but they're able to pull like that dude's leg out of the fence, and they bring him back to the barn blindfolded to heal him. And then at this point, you see Shane is noticeably becoming more and more unstable. They heal that dude, and they take mercy on him, and they take him hostage. And Rick and Shane are gonna drive him out to some school to leave him there with a gun, and hopefully he can survive on his own. But then they realize he knows Maggie, so he knows where the barn is. So they're like, man, we can't fucking leave this dude out here. He'll just come back with all his people if they find him, you know. And then they all get overran by zombies again. And Shane and Rick get into a fight. And when it looks like Rick is going to leave Shane behind, yeehaw, he comes back and saves his friend with that kid they showed mercy, right? Also the youngest of Herschel's daughters, she tries to kill herself, but she doesn't succeed, so I guess that's good. Whatever, right? She cuts herself with a piece of glass. Still having mercy for that guy in custody. Everyone there's trying to vote to see if he lives or dies. And Dell, that old bucket hat man dude, he's the only one trying to say, like, we're not monsters. Let's keep this dude alive. We don't need to lose our humanity, blah, blah, blah. Even though the world's... It's not the same. Like, we're in an apocalypse. Like, you gotta act differently in this world to survive. You can't... The old rules don't apply in the new world, you know? And during this time, Carl grabs a gun from Daryl's Nazi cycle. And he goes out to the woods, like, la-la-la-ing, right? And he sees a walker stuck in the mud. He tries to kill it, but he gets too chicken shit, and he runs off from it. Rick decides he's gonna kill that prisoner, but then his dumbass son Carl comes in and he's like, yeah, kill him, Dad, kill him. And Rick's like, fuck, I can't do this. I don't want my son seeing me be the bad guy. Da 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 da. I'm the bad guy. At the same time, Dale the Bucket Hat Man, for whatever reason, this late at night, he goes out for a walk really far out. And for some reason in the dark, right? And then a walker, which ironically happens to be that same one that the kid Carl didn't shoot earlier, fucking blindsides the Bucket Hat Man and like rips open his guts like fucking nothing. And he's there all screaming, and everyone's like, he needs help, but he's not gonna make it or survive because he's too ripped up. So Daryl just like shoots him in the head in an act of mercy. The next day after they buried Dale, they decide to spare the prisoner's life. But before they can get to him, the bad guy Shane secretly takes him into the woods and breaks the dude's neck. And then he runs his own face into a tree to make it look like he got snuck up on by that dude and sucker punched, right? So when Shane goes back and lets the group know, he and Rick go search while Daryl and Glenn search in a different area. They find the dude that Shane killed, the prisoner, but they don't see any like indications of a scratch or a bite. So they're like, well, why is he a walker? And Shane's whole master plan was to get Rick alone so he could kill him and make it look like an accident. And Rick's there trying to talk sense into his best buddy, but Shane goes for his gun. And Rick is forced to stab him in the stomach to death, right? And kill him. And then he turns around and there's Carl, because Carl is always fucking seeing him do the worst shit in the world, conveniently. And Rick's trying to explain it to him like, I had to. And Carl's aiming the gun up, but really he's aiming it behind him because Shane came back to life as a zombie. And Carl shoots Shane in the head. And all this gunfire, Rowdy attracts hordes of walkers from the city towards the farm. The farm is overtaken by the walkers, and all they have to do is go. They all go their separate ways. Someday love will find you. Break those chains that bind you. And it remind you our separate ways. It's a good song. A couple of unimportant people die, like two of Herschel's people that aren't his daughters. And everyone escapes except Andrea, who they leave there, but she's got a big bag of weapons, so she's kind of like okay on foot in the woods. When Rick and all of them meet up back at the highway where they first were when they lost Sophia, they're all grateful, but not sure where to go now to be safe. Andrea's still running in the forest. She's getting tired. She's a woman. She's probably got to bleed somewhere. And when a walker gets a jump on her, the zombie is stabbed with a katana by a mysterious hooded person who has two armless walker pets. That's what I wrote here. That's from Wikipedia. Then I believe Rick is turning into, like, the villain now. He's taking charge and saying he's going to do what he has to do to keep everyone safe, no matter what. So now he's kind of a villain now, or he's more of a, like, I got to do what I got to do to keep everyone safe. And you see a silhouette of the prison that they're going to end up in next season. And that's the end of season 2. That's where it ends. With Rick, if you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's Batman. Yes. Hello, fucking love Bane. How does it go? If I take off your mask, will it hurt you? It would be extremely painful for you. Was it? I'm here to fulfill Ra's al Ghul's destiny. You say you adopted the you say the darkness is your ally. You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. But I didn't see the light until I was a young man. By then it was just blinding. I was wondering what would break first, your spirit or your body. You fight like young man. Nothing to lose. Whatever, that's it. That's all for Walking Dead Season 2. See you later.